Hello student, I'm Prof.S.S.Jagtap working as an assistant professor in KK Graduate College. Today we will discuss on FYBSc Computer Science class of subject DBMS having topic data modeling using the entity relationship model. Entity relationship modeling have some objectives like to illustrate how relationships between entities are defined and redefined, to know how relationships are incorporated into the database design process, and how ERD components affect database design and implementation. First of all, we will see what is the conceptual database design. Process of describing the data, relationship between the data, and relationship between data and the constant is nothing but the conceptual database design. After analysis, gather all the essential data required and understand what data actually is related. The focus is totally on the data rather on that particular process. The output of conceptual database design is a conceptual data model or a data dictionary. There are two types of perspective approach like top-down approach and bottom-up approach for informing the conceptual data modeling. Top-down approach consists of a model is derived from an initiate understanding of the business, whereas bottom-up model is derived by reviewing the specification and the business document. There are some types of attributes like composite attribute, atomic attributes, simple attributes, single attributes. Now we will see what is meant by composite attributes. First of all, you know what is meant by attributes. Entity consists of various types of attributes. For example, employee is an entity, that is a table name, which having EID, ename, address. Okay, EID is having a single attribute, okay, single number, but ename can be middle name, first name, father name. That is, an attribute is divided into some sub attributes is called as an atomic attribute, okay, or a composite attribute. For example, here address, which may be a street address, city, state, sea, okay, these are called as a composite attribute, whereas atomic attribute is a single attribute which does not divide it into sub attributes. That is single value. Attributes have a single value for a particular entity, like age. We can say a person can have only a single age, or a ID. ID can be a unique, that is single. Then multi-valued attributes, that is a, for example, that attribute consists of many values like color. Okay, and car can have orange color, blue color, red color. This many value attribute. Listen, composite attribute and multi-value attributes are totally different. Composite attribute means what? An attribute consists sub-attributes. Okay? Whereas multi-valued attribute means what? An attribute having many values. One attribute having many values. These are the two differentiations. Next is stored versus derived attribute. Now see, stored attribute means what? A particular attribute which is having a feature that can be another attribute can inherit that feature. Okay, means for example, birth date is a stored attribute. Okay, and age is calculated from the birth date. That means age is derived from birth date. Okay, but here birth date is a stored attribute, whereas age is a derived attribute from birth date attributes. Next is entity and its keys. Okay, an entity that has a unique key, whereas weak entity does not have any key. Now we will see entity relationship modeling. Modeling is the top-down approach of a database which consists of logical representation of the entities as well as attributes and their relationship, so that it contains three types of constructs, that is entities, relationship as well as attributes. Here is a diagrammatic representation. Entity can be formed in a rectangle form, whereas relationship is in a diamond form, and attributes are in the ellipse form. Here are the symbols. See, entity name in ellipse form, there are the list of attributes, whereas relationship can be maintained in a diamond form. There are some example of entities which included the some categories like person, which having entities employee, student, patients. These are all are the entities. Place have entities like store, warehouse. Object have entities like machine, product, car. Events has entity like sales, registration, renewal. Concept also have entities like account, courses. And there are some more entities which included attributes like student is an entity name which includes student ID, student name, home address, phone number, major, etc. etc. That all are nothing but the attributes which are included in student entity. Identifier attributes. That means there's some candidate key. Now what is meant by actually candidate key? There is nothing but the combination of attributes in a unique format is called as a candidate key. For example, employee is an entity. Is employee ID. A second is the combination of employee name and address. If there is more than one candidate key that need to make a choice. A candidate key that has been selected as the unique identifying characteristics for the entity type. Okay, next is the referential attribute. First of all, what is meant by references? Okay, suppose there are two entities. Entities means a table and they are related with each other. First of all, we know what is meant by relationship. That will be seen in the next topic. Okay, there are four types of relationship: one to one to many to one, and many to many. Whenever one table is created, one's primary goes under to the many table. Means one's primary key is references to the another table. For example, one student have many teacher. Okay, then one's primary key, that is SNO, goes under to teachers table, is nothing but the referential attribute. Here we will see the example that department is a already we have created that table in which we include a department ID, and here we take the lecturer as one more attribute, one more entity, which include name, ID number, department ID and email. Here department ID comes from department entity, hence here DID is nothing but the referential attributes. We will see the example that staff is an entity. This ellipse shapes is nothing but the attribute, and that attribute is underlined that consider as a primary key. This is the symbol of primary key. Whenever an underlined word or underlined attribute is considered as a primary key. Okay, there are relationships, as I have already told you, that author relates with book. That maybe one author writes many books, one author wrote many books wrote one author, or many books wrote many authors. That are all included in a relationship. That describes the name is an active or passive verb. There are degree of relationship, three types of degree. One entity type is nothing but the unary, two entity types is nothing but the binary, and three entity types are nothing but the ternary. Those are the symbols of unary, binary and ternary. As I had told that there will be an cardinality and connectivity. Okay, relationship that consists of minimum and maximum number of instances of entity is nothing but the cardinality. Now, for what is meant by relationship? One entity relates with another entity by having relationship. Then it may be one to one to many, or many to many. There are much more topics, interesting topics to